What's good, girlfriends? Listen, I am so excited to welcome you to another episode of Girlfriend Chronicles. This is when me and a girlfriend get together and we talk all things natural hair, and I answer whatever questions you may have about caring for your natural hair. Now, if this is the first time that we have met, I am Dr. Crystal Cunningham, clinical pharmacist, transformational curl care specialist, and the founder of Bold Culture Beauty. And I am simply here to help you save time, build confidence, and make natural hair care easy. I have learned on this journey that I have decided that I would do these lives right now once a week to really just help you get to a place where we can, one, normalize our struggles that we may be having on our natural journey, and then also help to show you, one, how relatable all of our struggles may be, and then also bring us to a place where we can ultimately make natural hair care easy. And so I am so very excited because my guest is here today, and we are going to get into our natural hair journeys, talking a little bit about identity, talking a little bit about ways that we can be more comfortable and confident on this journey, and really just help to get you to a place where natural hair care ultimately becomes easy. So, girlfriends, as always, if you have questions, make sure you drop them in the comments. I would love to answer those for you. Shout out to my fellow clinical pharmacists. I have a soft spot always in my heart for pharmacists because obviously we are the bomb. So thank you so much, Dr. Melissa, for joining us, and we hope you stay tuned for this episode of Girlfriend Chronicles. And so, girlfriends, since we're all here, without further ado, I will let my girlfriend Kenya introduce herself, tell us a little bit about who she is, and then when you are done introducing yourself, Kenya, go ahead and tell us what you love about your natural hair.
First, I just wanted to acknowledge you. You are amazing. It's so funny. When I was preparing to come today and to talk, I was thinking about how God blessed your womb with sons, but he blessed your virtual womb with all of us females to nurture us, huh? Isn't he wonderful like that?
Yes.
So awesome. So my name is Kenya Clement.
He is, yes.
I'm the founder of Euphoria, and I'm an author of Living Powerfully Through Lost. And one of my greatest assignments, I think, in this season is to provide transformational coaching, and particularly to Christian women, help them to embrace who they are and live a healthy, healed heart. So have a healthy, healed. So I'm excited. I'm excited to talk about my hair, girl. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, ma'am. So then, tell me, what do you love about your natural hair?
I love it. And you know what was so interesting, Dr. Crystal, is that I had to grow into that. And it was not until I kind of stopped perming and burning did I really recognize how soft and beautiful my hair is. I love it. I love it.
Okay. And so I think that is actually a big part of most of our journeys, especially if we enter this natural space from being relaxed previously. I think a lot of us on our journey, we may have had our hair straightened or permed, or I've had all the things, actually, honestly. I had a curl. I had I had a curl. I had a perm. And so when I actually went natural, it did take me a little bit of time to actually get acclimated and appreciate my hair, because I think one of the things that we do, especially when we transition from like natural to, or from relaxed to natural, there's we tend to judge our natural experience by our relaxed experience, and we can't do that. And then sometimes even when our hair is growing out, we tend to judge that natural hair based on the relaxed hair that it's connected to, and we can't do that. And it's not until all of that weight is shed, all of that hair is gone, that we can really begin the process of accepting and appreciating our natural hair for what it is and for how it actually is, where we can actually really understand and see the unique characteristics of our hair, and then actually get to a place where we're able to embrace it. So I'm glad that now that you are natural, you can actually get to a place where you can fully embrace and enjoy your natural hair and appreciate that it is soft, I have to give you like cotton.
On that ebook. So anybody join on that ebook is powerful.
Thank you.
I let my hairdresser read it. She's like, this is so good. Because with that book, I love the fact that you first discuss the hang-ups, right? The mental mindset that we have in regards to our hair and who we are, right? Mm-hmm. And then the other piece that you gave us actual tools to actually identify your own hair, right? And where it is. And dismiss a lot of the myths that we, particularly African-American women, have about. And I gotta say that my favorite statement in that book, you said, all hair is beautiful. And then you went on to say, just because it's different does not make it less beautiful, right? So I think that's something that we all gotta embrace, that we all have beautiful hair, right? Before we start permanent.
Yeah. Yes. Before we start permanent, or even once we permed it and then decide that we want to transition to natural. Yes, all hair is beautiful. And I think it is very important, very, very, very important that we take the time, the interest and the energy to really get to know our hair on a personal level, to know our hair, not just by what other people may have said, hurtful things people may have said about our hair, even helpful things people may have said about our hair, but really taking a moment to be the expert on our own hair, taking a time to develop an intimate knowledge of our hair so we can know how our hair should look, feel, and behave, so that we aren't chasing things that are not in alignment with our natural hair. And so thank you so much for that rave review for my book. For the curl friends who are like, what book? What is she talking about? I actually did write a natural hair book. It is called It Could All Be So Simple, and it is unlocking the secret to help you save time, build confidence, and make natural hair care easy. I will find the link and drop it in the comments, but if you would like to grab a copy or learn more about it, you can definitely check out the link in my bio because it is already posted there. But thank you so much. I'm glad that you and your stylist actually enjoyed the book. I appreciate you sharing that with the group so that other people may be able to be aware about it and find some usefulness and some value in it as well. And so, Kenya, as we continue in this conversation, which has actually already been pretty good, we've talked about being able to embrace our hair. Why don't you tell me a little bit about your personal natural hair journey and how you arrived at where you are right now?
I think my natural hair journey really started when I was younger, Crystal. I remember for those that are from Detroit, back Midwest, East Coast, having to walk in the cold, in the snow. And I remember in particularly, I come from a middle-class family, blue-collar workers. My dad was an extraordinary welder. My mom was a hardworking LBN. And this particular day, they couldn't take me to school. So I ended up having to walk to school. And I remember I had a project in my hand. My head was sore. And I'm going to tell you why in a minute. It was cold. I was frustrated. And I didn't really have the words to define that, which is one of the things I think is really important with regards to transformational coaching I do, is having a word to define what you feel, right? You can't define it, right? So anyway, so we're walking. I had to walk to school, and I was late. And I remember walking into the classroom, my 5th grade classroom. Miss McGill took my hood off, and they start snickering. So instantly, I had 2 brothers, right? So, I got upset. I was thinking I was about to beat somebody down, right? However, my heart was crushed, my shoulders went down, my head went down. I tried not to cry. And then instantly Miss McGill says, because I took my hood off, and that's when the snickering began. And Miss McGill says, she says, I like your hair, right? She kind of shifted the atmosphere. However, the damage was still there, right? That kind of set my tone on I'm different. And what they were secret is my mom the night before had gave me like 8 cornrows, girl. I was doing cornrows before Queen Latifah and set it off. I'm sorry, better, right? So anyway, so she had done like 8 cornrows, and my head was sore. And of course, I went to school in a Catholic school on the other side, you know, west side of Detroit. And it was just a different environment, you know, and I was probably one of few that wore cornrows, right? And so I think that set a precedent for me on, am I different? Comparing myself, which is crippling, right? And so from there, I think that's where my journey began. Like, how do I make my hair look different? How do I look like everybody else's? And so that's kind of where my journey started. And I went through, like you said, S curl, Jerry curl, braids, ponytails, and all of it. And it was only probably about 7 years ago that I had been in a perm since probably age of 10, maybe 11. I said, you know, enough is enough. And so I just kind of started my process of kind of letting go and finding out that I have cotton hair, girl.
Well, that is actually good. And I think that a lot of us, all of us, need one, which is actually why I created Bold Culture Beauty, need a Miss McGill in our lives, because there is so much negative views about natural hair. We talked last week with the therapist about like the word nappy, about
And
people saying that they have good hair, about people telling you you may not have good hair. And so yes. Yeah, like trying to grade the hair, all of these things which create this negative connotation for natural hair, which create this misconception that we have to fall in to what might have been passed down about how we need to feel about our natural hair, which might have been absorbed from society about what we need to feel about our natural hair. But it is the Miss McGills in the world. It is the Bold Culture Beauties in the world that are trying to change that standard and shift the atmosphere, because we want people to actually feel good about their hair. We want people to love their hair. We want people to be confident. And so what I am doing and what I'm on this mission to do is to equip you with the tools you need, to provide the support you need, and then to give you the access you need to the quality products, the quality information, and the quality community that will really help you save time, build confidence, and make natural hair care easy. And so I know you said that about 7 years ago, you started your natural process. And then, so my question to you is, what was that transition like for you? Like, how did it feel once you finally decided, okay, enough is enough. I'm done with the relaxers. I'm through with the S curls and the Jerry curls and the ponytails and the weaves. When you got to that moment where you were like, okay, I'm ready to go natural, when you first started to realize the texture of your hair, when you first started to experience your natural hair, what was that moment like for you? Or how did you work
I'm
through
very
that?
active, right? I exercise and I sweat in my hair. So that's hence why I needed a perm, right? Or at least I thought I needed a perm. So it was kind of unsettling. I felt a little bit as if I didn't have anybody to go to. I didn't have a bold culture person contact, because the person I was going to at the time, that wasn't their thing, right? Natural hair. So so I was a little bit unsettled in that I didn't have anybody to support it, to nurture it, you know, to develop it. So so it was kind of, I was kind of learning as I was going. you know, trying to decide what to do, you know, consulting people that I saw that was deciding to go that way. So it was kind of a slow process.
Hmm. Okay. And so on this process, when you were consulting people and and trying to figure out what to do, what were some of the thoughts, I guess, that were going through your head? What were some of the things that you were thinking, some of the concerns you may have had about your hair when you were going through this
Yeah.
process of transitioning and being able to
Am
better
I going to look like buckwheat?
embrace your natural journey and your natural hair?
Like, am I going to look like a cotton ball buckwheat, right? That was one of the thoughts. The other one was, can I maintain a professional look because of the profession I am in and still go natural? That was a concern. Will I have versatility? That came up. The other thing was the ability to my lifestyle at the time, because I had to raise 3 children, right? Will it be something quick and smooth? You know, what will be the time commitment to it? So those were like probably my top 3, right? Because, you know, I had active sons. They were all in sports. My daughter was in dance, you know, so what is going to be efficient for me, right? And perms were always efficient.
Right.
That,
Especially when we were able to go to someone else to do
but
the, to
you
do
know
the
what's
heavy
so
lifting for
interesting
us.
is
And
that
so then all we had to do was maybe take
in
that wrap down.
college, the time when I didn't really have any time to do anything, I was very mindful and I was very aware of my hair. And I don't know if it was just the season. I mean, I washed it every day. I mean, not every day, every week. I kind of feel when it was getting dirty. I almost felt new. I mean, like I was really in tune to my hair in college. But once kind of life got going, you know, it was like, you know, what's easy? Easy.
Right. I feel like college, even though, well, college is like a different beast in and of itself because the world is completely different when you're in when you were in
Yep.
college. Even though there is a time requirement, there's always space. There's always there's always space to not have to work so much or not have to do so much. I think in college, life was like it's almost the real world. It's definitely a different world probably than what we were used to. But like when you start having bills and children and jobs that are requiring of you more than you want to give sometimes, it's a completely different beast. And so one of the things I want to point out when you were talking about the thoughts that you were having on your natural journey, and girlfriends, if these things resonate with you, go ahead and let and drop some things in the comments. But like you said, would you, when you were transitioning to natural, would you still be professional or would you still look professional when you went to work? And I know as a pharmacist, that was one of the things that was one of my major concerns, one of the things that I was always thinking about because one, and I'm pretty sure my fellow clinical pharmacists can relate, it's hard enough sometimes for people in the healthcare setting to it's hard enough for people in the healthcare setting to take you seriously when you look different. And when you add an extra layer onto that where now your hair looks different, then sometimes it creates this extra barrier where people may think you're not going to be professional, you're not going to be intelligent, you're not going to be able to rise to the occasion. And so I do know that that was a concern for me when I went natural. Luckily though, my the director of pharmacy at my job was a Black woman and she also wore her hair natural. So that was a really good thing for me. And at that stage in my life, I wasn't really concerned about anybody trying to vet me or tell me what to do. I mean, I'm still not, but like as far as that,
you almost have to help them understand you, because one day you might come with a short do,
right,
and then the next day you might have a long ponytail, and they're like, wow, your hair grew fast, right? So there's also kind of a culture awareness or culture education that we have to give the people around us sometimes, and then that can be taxing sometimes.
Right. That is very taxing, and I can't tell you how many times when I switch my
Yeah.
hairstyle or when I change my hair color, people will like, "Are you new?" No, I've been here for like 8 years. I'm the same person that's always been helping you and serving you. My hair is just different. So it definitely was like a taxing experience at times. Definitely was kind of, I had to set the tone when people came into my space, because when they needed my help, they had to come into my office. But like, well, where's Crystal? I'm like, this is Dr. Cunningham. I'm right here, and I'm happy to serve you. So it definitely can be taxing, because where when anybody else I know that looks like me changes
And
their
it's
hair,
a
I'm
fact.
able to recognize their features and not be confused about what's going on. It was always strange that in this professional setting, even though we are supposed to be professionals, you can be so confused and taken aback. And then almost your demeanor changes when you don't realize that it is the me that you've always been working with, just because my hair looks different. And so that was definitely an adjustment that I had to make. Definitely a thing that I had to get used to. But then I just realized, you know what, that's not my problem. I'm still intelligent. I'm still more than capable. I have done a residency. I have been here for years. And if you cannot accept it, that is an issue that you need to work
That,
out on your own time, but not in my
that,
space or my office. So you go deal with that, and I'm going to go help you save these patients. But it's definitely something that you have to build, like the inner fortitude, to be able to get to a place where you can actually be
yeah.
comfortable and confident enough with that, because people are always going to have opinions. People are always going to have misconceptions. People are always going to have their own thoughts, but you actually have to get to a place where you feel good enough about yourself, where you are equipped with enough insight and understanding
Yeah.
and grace for yourself, that the external chatter, the external noise, the external issues do not bother you. They do not affect you, and they do not knock you off your game. Because unfortunately,
How
and I see that
about you
Coach
just
Roberta is saying the
fearfully and
same thing,
wonderfully
like,
made? Because God
um,
that way. Let's go there. What?
yes,
Yes. Yes.
yes. Whether natural, straight, curly,
Yes.
or wavy, all of the above, I am fearfully and wonderfully made, and
Yes.
everybody else is gonna have to fall in line and kind of accept that.
That's
And if they
it.
can't, that's
You
not my
are a
problem. Take it up
masterpiece,
with the one
right?
who
He
made me,
tells us
right?
Philippians 2:10. You not only a masterpiece, you a handiwork,
Right.
right? That was created in Christ Jesus to do good work. Let's go, Vogue Culture. Let's go.
Yes. Let's go. And so my next question for you is, because I know that was one of your thoughts. You were trying to figure out if it was going to be easy or not, because you had, and as a mother of two young boys, I completely understand the time constraints. Trying to wonder if you're going to have enough time to take care of this, trying to figure out if between their life and your life, you're going to be able to pay attention to your hair, so that you don't look like buckwheat. And for those of you who may be wondering the same things, one, yes, natural hair is professional. Two, yes, you can create the schedule, the space and the time that you need to care for your hair. You don't have to take like 5, 10, 12 hours to take care of your hair. I have never spent that much time, once I knew what to do, never spent that much time take care of my hair. And so you can create the space in your schedule to be effective and efficient when it comes to caring for your hair. As long as you approach it the right way, it doesn't have to take all day. And then if on the off chance
All
you
right.
happen to look
It's
like buckwheat
all right.
every now and then, just embrace it. Listen, it is okay. Trust me, I have looked crazy. And then now looking, I felt like I will say this, I have felt like I looked crazy. And maybe sometimes I was really close to looking crazy. But when I look at those pictures with the level of understanding and confidence that I have now, I
Yeah.
realized that it wasn't the hair that was the issue. It was my thoughts about the hair, my perception of what I was giving off, that created the issue instead of actually it being my hair. Because truth be told, even though I had a horrific big chop experience, my hair was healthy because, one, I was getting it done on a weekly basis by a stylist. And so all that the barber actually did was cut off
Okay.
the
Right.
relaxed hair, and the hair that was under there was good, good, right? The hair that was under there was
Yeah.
healthy. It had been being cared for, but the person, me looking at the hair, wasn't in a place where I could feel comfortable and confident because of all of, well, one, my expectation for when my hair got cut was way off from what um
Yeah.
way off from what my hair actually was able to do. But then I had to also realize
Yeah.
that all of other people's expectations did not need to be mine. Everybody else's expectations for my hair, what society said my natural hair should look
Yeah.
like, what people said that my natural hair should be, was not really true. And you cannot let people that don't know anything about your hair set the expectations and the goals for what your natural hair should look like. So for everybody that is watching, if you have ever felt the weight of somebody else's opinion, if you have ever felt the weight of what advertising or society has said your natural hair should look like, this is your moment to drop it and
Yeah.
to let it go. Because until they know your hair like you know your hair, they cannot set the rules on what your hair should look like, on what your natural journey should look like, on what you should be experiencing. But I can tell you that for those of you who have been struggling, for those of you who may be having issues with natural hair, that there's an easier side, there's an easier way to approach it, and that you can take your power back on this natural journey. So don't let other people's misconceptions, don't let all of the negative connotations kind of set the stage or the tone for you on your natural journey. I did it and it is not fun. And so that is actually why I'm here,
Crystal,
to
that
help you
is
not
so
have to
good.
do
That's
that
so good.
on
I
your
was just
natural
thinking,
journey. And so
Second Corinthians like 10:12, it tells us we compare ourselves to others. We make our own standards to that comparison, and then we judge ourselves by the standards we made for ourselves.
Right.
And then this is my favorite part. In the Passion, it says that's delusional. Right? It's all delusional. You got it. And so that's exactly what it is. It puts us in this place of delusion, trying to compare ourselves to something we shouldn't be comparing to anyway. Because there's only one. We're
only one. And even if my hair may look like someone else's, there's only one me with this hair. And so I need to take the time to invest in better understanding that hair so that I can invest in better caring for that hair and then ultimately get the results I desire. But I think when we shed that weight, and I like how, I guess how the scripture put it, when it calls us delusional, because I think a lot of times it is, we have to check ourselves on that part though. Like, am I being realistic with what I am expecting? Am I actually doing what makes sense when it comes to taking care of my hair? Am I actually setting myself up to get good results, or am I following what everybody told me I should do? And then sometimes we got to say, well, how do I even know the difference? And so for those of you that are wondering, like, how do I know if information is good? How do I know if information is valid or valuable? One, there should be a certain level of fact and truth to the information that is provided. And I think a lot of times we get caught up in things because they sound popular, or because the person that said it seems to be reputable, or even if their hair looks good, we just assume that what they're doing is the gold standard for what we should all be doing. Or if it's popular or a very common practice, we often assume that it is right, when in a lot of times it's not. And so I tell my girlfriends when I'm working with them, when people have questions, ask yourself, does this make sense? Is it factual? Is it helpful? Is it pushing me closer to my goal? Or is it pulling me farther away from reaching the results that I desire? And if I've been doing it for an extended period of time and there are no tangible results, then it's safe to say it's not working. So girlfriends, free yourself from the things that seem popular, from the things that seem to be effective for one but not effective for many. Let those things go, and then take the time to figure out what it is that you should be doing that's going to serve you well, that's going to bring you closer to your goals, and that's going to make you feel good about your natural hair. And so my next question for you, because I know people are like, this is Girlfriend Chronicles and her hair is straight, but your hair is natural. So tell me, so here's the thing, girlfriends, if you want to be natural and decide to be straight, That's perfectly okay. Nobody sets the standard for if you're natural, you have to be wear your hair in its naturally curly, kinky, wavy state. You can do that. But tell me, how did you arrive at, well, one, have you ever worn your hair in its
Yes,
non-straight
yes, I
state? And then
have.
how
I
did you
have
arrive
done
at deciding
I
which one
have
was best for
done the
you?
twist, twist out, twist in,
Mm-hmm.
twist around. I've done all of the I've done braids, I've done all of that. And I think for me, what was important is, again, is time, because my life is so busy. And so for me, straight
Mm-hmm.
hair is a easier process for me personally, because I can do and go. I can get up and
Mm-hmm.
with it. Although I find myself
Mm-hmm.
putting more heat to my hair than normal, without when
Mm-hmm.
I'm not natural, right? And so I think it was just a lifestyle
Mm-hmm.
choice. It was a um, I I do
Mm-hmm.
want to say I don't think I embraced long enough my natural curl process, because again, when I found out I had to retwist my hair
Mm-hmm.
a couple of times, right? I just didn't have the time. It was just, you know, I just, for my lifestyle, I just did not have enough time for
Mm-hmm.
it.
No, and that makes it. So let me free you from this. For the girlfriend who says, I do not have enough time, for the girlfriend who says that it is going to be too much work, or for the girlfriend who says that I need to retwist my hair several times a week, you
Free.
don't have
I'm free.
to. And so part of the beauty of being natural is once we get to a place where we better
Yeah.
understand our hair, once we get to a place where we are intentional about caring for it, we know what to do. Styling the hair becomes easier. Getting styles that last longer than a few days becomes easier. Knowing how to intentionally select products and pick things that are actually going to work for you becomes easier. And so you do not have to invest your time into, because trust me, I retwisted like every night or every other night when I was working 10-hour shifts at the hospital, and that was a pain. Delusional, because I had, by the time my day was over at 10, now I'm sitting on the couch trying to twist my hair and go to bed, and then get up in the
See?
morning at like 4 or
See?
5 so I could be to the hospital by 6 and do it all over again. And that was no fun. And if I had to keep doing that, I would not. But I learned, one, that that was no good. That was not working for me at all. But then I actually learned how to better care for my hair, how to pick appropriate products for the styles that I was creating so that they could last longer, and then how consistency and focusing on improving the health of my hair made a huge, huge, huge difference when it came to styles that lasted, curls that popped, hydrated hair that was healthy, and then not having to spend as much time on my hair. So if you are the girlfriend that is worried about maybe it's taking too much time, or if you are the girlfriend that has the thoughts about, I would love to wear my hair natural, but I don't want to twist my hair every night. I personally don't twist my hair at all. And I think if y'all have seen my timeline, yes, I put a scarf on at night. I wake up in the morning, I shake my head, and I go. I do a little bit of fluffing. Worst case scenario, I might put it in a puff or a bun, but like Crystal does not twist. I don't twist my hair at all, honestly. If that were ever a question, I do not twist my hair. And tonight when I go to bed, I'm going to put a scarf on. And tomorrow when I wake up, I'm going to take that scarf off. And I literally just, well, I'm gonna hold my earrings, but I literally just shake my hair like this. It moves around, I fluff it up, and then I go. If it looked too crazy, I might pin one side back or pull it up into a puff. But most of the time I can go, a lot of the time I can go about 7 days without having to do anything to my hair. So girlfriends, if this is where you want to be in life, let me help you, because I can definitely show you the ins and outs of getting to a place where time is not the biggest issue for you when it comes to natural hair care. Well, time won't be an issue for you at all. And then Kenya, if you ever want to come on over,
I just want to have a good night.
Yeah,
got my hair to go. Love it.
Yes. And I see Miss Janine says no twisting either. Yeah, there is this was what I tell people, since the soft life is the thing that's going around now on social media, but there's definitely a softer side to natural hair care, and we can all experience it. It does not have to take all of your time. It does not have to take all of your energy or effort. You don't even have to twist your hair at all if you don't want to, because I don't twist my hair at all. And so there are definitely things that you can do. There are definitely practices that you can put in place, and you can just be consistent at those things, and that timepiece will not be an issue for you any longer. And so whenever you're ready, girlfriend, whenever you're ready, just hit me up and I would love to help you. So that might be our next time you join me on Girlfriend Chronicles. We might see what happens when we switch from straight.
I'm feeling yeah.
So, girlfriends, if that was ever you, trust me, there is a softer, easier side to natural hair care. One that does not require all your time, effort, or energy, but it does require you to do some work in the right direction. But that work is easier. It's more intentional. It makes more sense, and it yields better results. So just remember that, and then hit me up. I would love to help you and serve you in that capacity as well. And so one of the things you also mentioned was that you realize that you're putting more heat on your hair. Now, this is what I would caution my friends that are natural, that happen to wear their hair straight, because depending on where you live, if it's humid, depending on how long you've been straightening your hair, one of the things you do just have to be mindful of is heat damage. And then when we are using a lot of heat on our hair, we do have to be concerned about if the heat that we are applying is going to cause irreparable damage to the hair. So that's just the thing to be cautioned about, especially when you're doing several passes over the hair, especially when you're doing if you're having to straighten it multiple times a week, making sure that you're using something like a heat protectant. But the more you wear your hair heat straightened, the more you can run the risk of altering that hair strand and the way those curls show up, if you should ever choose.
Yeah.
Yes. The cuticle layer of your hair strand. So that's just something to be mindful of whenever you're ready to start working together, just to think about that, because it is going to be a difference and something that you just have to consider. And so my next question for you, as we continue in this conversation, is for me, I realized that for myself and a lot of people, our hair was a big part of our identity. So how did your hair through this journey, how did that affect the way you felt, one, about yourself, the way you presented yourself in your corporate settings when you were worried about looking like Buckwheat, or if that hairstyle was professional? How did how did that play a part in the way you showed up in these different rooms, places, and spaces?
Again, you know, because a woman's hair is her crown, right? And what I had to recognize initially, right, it was a concern, because again, it's that, will they accept me? And once I really embraced who I am, and kind of what you said earlier, I am who I am. That's up to you. If you have a concern, right, talk to my creator, right? Because he created me, right? And I really began to embrace Psalms 139, as I am fearfully and wonderfully made. If there's an issue for you, then you need to figure out what your issue is. So I know that I identified myself by my hair just because of my journey as a child. And not until I began to understand that I'm not defined by my hair. I'm not defined by my degrees. I'm not defined by any of those aesthetic things, but I'm identified by who God said I am. Did I begin to say, okay, if I want to go natural today, I'm going to do it. If I don't want to be natural today, I won't, you know? So that was a process, right? And I think that was just a process in me just learning who I am, and who I am in Christ, and not in my hair, and not in what I'm wearing, and not in, you know, the things that people see to make them feel as if they are valuable. And those things are valuable, but they're not the utmost important part of us.
And that is very, very, very true. Like our hair is a significant part of our identity. And I know we talked about this last week with the therapist, the adage, if you look good, you feel good. If you feel good, you do good. And one of the things that she pointed out to us was trying to be neutral when it came to our hair, appreciating the hair, loving the hair, caring for the hair, but not letting your hair or any other significant part of your life dictate your feelings toward whether or not you're going to have a good or bad day, whether or not you're going to take that chance or that opportunity, whether or not you are going to step into a room and show up. Because I have worked with girlfriends. We've kind of worked through this situation where they're like, you know, I was afraid to stand up in meetings or to speak up in meetings because I was so uncomfortable about my hair. Even to the point where some people were like, I wouldn't participate the way I wanted to in church or anything like that because I wouldn't, I was so concerned about the way my hair looked. I wouldn't go to events. I wouldn't go out. And so my point for girlfriends is to take the time to understand your hair, but don't let it dictate your life in that way where you can't step into rooms where you can't be yourself. And it brings us back to what we mentioned earlier, like all hair is beautiful. Your hair is beautiful. And we have to get to a place where we can be gracious with ourselves and free ourselves so that we can fully appreciate the beauty of our hair, however it is. Be real with ourselves about what we may need to do to get ourselves to a place where it needs to be healthier. Because it's not lost on me. Sometimes we've been doing so many things or not enough things, and our hair may be way too unhealthy. And so we have to be realistic about that too. But we can also take our power back in those situations by being intentional about learning more about our hair, about caring for our hair consistently, and then doing the work that it requires and setting realistic expectations.
It was imprisonment.
And so I do see.
Right? It's like you're bound. And it's interesting you say it with natural hair, Dr. Crystal, because I think there were moments I've been bound with straight permed hair too, because it didn't do what I thought it should do. You know what I mean? So again, I guess that just goes back to this defining yourself by your hair, not doing that, but defining yourself by who you've been created by. And, you know?
Right. And I think that is something that we all have to take the moment to consider and to explore and to appreciate. And once we have that understanding, that foundational understanding, then it helps us better navigate our natural journey, our personal journey, our relationships with other people, the way we lead others. And so I think that is a key and critical part for all of us on this journey if we want to embrace the beauty of living well, of living abundantly, and being our best selves. And so I did have one question. Shout out to Coach Jamila from I Am and More. Listen, if you own a small business and you need some legal advice, definitely check her out. But she was asking, I think when I was talking about altering the cuticle of the hair or altering the hair strand, what about too much brushing with gel? Can that have the same effect? And so you can do yourself a disservice. Well, one, I don't brush my hair when there's gel in it at all. If I'm slicking my hair down for like a ponytail or a bun, I actually don't use gel. I use a mousse or a foam because it will lay your hair the same way, and I just tie it back and let it dry, and you can get a slick style. So like if you've ever seen me with a slick with the middle part in the slick bun situation going on, I actually didn't use gel at all. I just used mousse to make sure my hair was wet and saturated with the product, and I pulled it back. You do have to be careful when you're brushing your hair in general, because you want to make sure that the way you approach the hair when you're brushing it, that you are not tearing or ripping the hair. So it won't necessarily make the hair it won't necessarily damage the hair in the same way that heat may damage the hair, but you can definitely cause your hair to break. You can definitely pull your hair out if you are approaching it the wrong way when it comes to brushing the hair or actually caring for the hair. So you do actually want to consider that. And yes, not that I never use gel to slick my hair, but my go-to, my first pick choice if I'm going to slick my hair is to put that mousse on it, lay it down, and put a scarf on it. I'm not really one for Yes, ma'am. So I don't know if people actually realize it. And so I have gotten a lot of questions like about my hair, but like if I don't put anything on my hair when I style it, it looks very different than when I actually put like when it dries and there's like no gel or anything on the hair. And so if I can slick my hair down, I'm pretty sure most other people can can slick their hair down as well and get really good results. So I'm not saying never use gel. If you've been using gel and it's working for you, then you've been using gel and it's working for you. But I've been using mousse and it's working for me. And I am certain that it will work for most people when it comes to wanting to be able to pull their hair up. And then a lot of times, if I've had gel in my hair, like if I wanted to put my hair in a slick pony from here, I would wet it a little bit, pull it up, and then just put the mousse around it and tie it up, and it will stay until I decide to wash it. So yes, you can definitely, there are hair care hacks that you can learn. You can, you just have to know what style you're trying to create and then what product is best suited to help you create that style. And I think for a lot of girlfriends, that's where we go wrong. We think we need gel to do everything, and we don't. So just making sure that you understand what style this is. So a product selection hack for those of you that are watching, figure out what style you want to create, figure out what the best product is to help you create that style, and that's going to eliminate a lot of the fails that we have sometimes. And then make sure you're following the directions and using the product right, because I think sometimes we do a lot of things, we mix a lot of things, and it is not really necessary. So figure out what style you're trying to create, figure out what product is best suited to help you create that style, and then make sure that you use the product appropriately. And you would be surprised at the results that you get and the amount of trial and error that you don't need to have anymore, because now you're approaching this product selection intentionally. And so that would be my gem for the day. Well, I think we've dropped a lot of gems today, but that would be one of my gems for the day, like especially for people that don't like struggling with trial and error when it comes to products. And then I actually am working on a little girlfriend's guide to product selection. So y'all stay tuned, because I will be dropping that soon, so that I can help you take that trial and error out of actually choosing products. But then again, and if you check out It Can All Be So Simple, it helps you take a lot of the trial and error out of choosing products too. But the new thing I'm working on actually details like you need this, this, and this, and when you're trying to do this, think about it this way.
That was one
and then
of the
for those
why
people
I did not
that are concerned about ingredients
of my natural curl twist, because I am one of those people like, okay, I'm gonna try maybe two, one or two, and if it don't work the second or the third time, so I love it.
No, and I will say there's a certain level of consistency that we need to have, but then there also needs to be a mindset shift when things don't work. We can't, you can feel how you want to feel about it, but don't stay there, right? Once you feel how you want to feel, or as you're feeling how you want to feel, then take the time to really assess what happened in that situation. And I've done it on camera before when my hair didn't even work out exactly how I expected, or didn't do exactly what I wanted it to do. But I learned this from our mentor, PD, about turning those losses into lessons. And so then it's never a failure. It is an opportunity for you to learn, to glean, to grow, and then to apply that to your next styling experience. So I'm really big about that, because sometimes we consider when things don't work exactly how we wanted it to, that our hairstyle failed, that, you know, it was a waste of time, that maybe these products didn't work. But I would encourage people to, one, make sure that you use the products correctly, that you use the right product for the style that you were trying to achieve, again, and then also making sure that if it didn't work out the best for you, taking the time to assess what went right, what went wrong, and then using that information on your next styling session so that now you are better equipped to not do the same thing over again, but to take what you've learned from that last experience, apply it to that new experience, and then to continually get better results. And this is how we continually grow. This is how we continually improve. And this is how we continually grow on that process.
So how long should
and so that is definitely something that we should
stay
consider
with
and
the
think
product
about
before you just pour it down the sink? You know what I mean? Like, it should you kind of take maybe a couple times, you know?
So I would recommend doing so. Okay, here's the thing. Sometimes you can tell off rip if the product is trash. And so I would say that one, we should invest in quality products. And quality doesn't necessarily always mean price, although sometimes products at higher price points, they are a little bit more intentional about the processes that they use to create the products, about the size of the nerding out just a little bit, the size of the of the molecules that they used in the ingredients to create the products, about the quality of the raw ingredients that they're also using. So all of these things make a difference, and even about the lineup of the ingredients in the product, so that if they say they're giving you a certain ingredient, that ingredient is showing up. Like if they're saying these are the key ingredients in this product, those are the ingredients that show up at the top of the list and not at the bottom. Because I don't know if we all knew this, but when it comes to ingredients on a list of products, those at the top are usually the most prevalent. So you have to be mindful about that. Just because it says it has these amazing ingredients that are known to help you grow your hair, if those ingredients are under like number 28 through 30, then chances are there's not that yet. There's a very little amount, and you're not getting the results that you think you're getting from those products in the first place. So that's just something to consider. But then I would also say, one, make sure you're using it right. Sometimes, a lot of times, most times, the directions they give you on the back are the directions you should be following when it comes to styling your hair. I know a lot of girlfriends, and I've watched a lot of videos with influencers, and they're like, oh, I'm trying this product, and I'm going to give you a review. And then they use that product plus another product, plus another product, plus another product. And they're like, it did not work. No, ma'am, it did not work, because you used that product plus another product plus to style your hair, like 4 products to style your hair. And then you're like, this product is no good. So like, as best you can, try to use that product exclusively when it comes to styling your hair, and then making sure that your hair is clean. Now, some products you can tell that they are just trash when you use them, and I think you can tell by the results that you get. But some products, it is user error, and then just not making sure that it's quality. If you purchased a quality product, like any of the products that we have here at Bold Culture Beauty, if you purchase a quality product and you didn't get the best results the first time, I would say that you can use it a few more times. But then each time, that's when we're being intentional about the results that we got, looking at what we did. Did I use enough water? Did I use enough product? Did I use too much water? Was this the appropriate product based off of where I'm living in the world? Is it more humid in my area, and that's why these results came out this way? Is it more dry in my area, and that's why these results came out this way? So those are some of the things that we should think about, because all of that makes a difference when it comes to products. But there are some products that universally, if we use them well, we can usually get pretty good results, and especially when they're quality products. So I think that a lot of times trying them again and learning from that experience matters, and then actually being real about what we consider a fail. Because in most situations, if I say my hair didn't turn out right, most people would look at me and be like, man, I wish my wash and go turned out like that. So one, we have to set a certain level of realism when it comes to what we consider a fail. But like, I have used products and people were like, girl, did you even put anything on your head? And I'd be like, oh, my bad, I probably used it wrong then, or that's just a trash product. So you really have to be intentional. And in that case, it probably was just a trash product. But you really have to be intentional about the products that you're using, making sure that they are suited for your hair and its specific needs. And then if you are investing in quality products, then try it again, and then learning, because that's part of the process. Like when I first started on this natural journey, using specific gels and I didn't know what I was doing. Now that I know what I'm doing and I'm using those products, I'm getting amazing results. And so once you know how to properly care for your hair, once your hair is healthy, once you are in the right place when it comes to caring for your hair, being intentional, being consistent, I think it's safe to say that then you can use a product, not get the best results, but use it again and then learn from that experience. So
Yeah.
it just really depends on what you have been spending your money on and being intentional about selecting things that are appropriate for your hair, being willing to invest in quality products. And when you invest in
Right.
products that are quality, they last longer because you don't have to use as much if you use it right, and you can get better results. And so, what you may be shocked by the price on the front end, you get in value from being able to
Nice.
it to
Nice.
last longer, you being
It
able to use it appropriately and
did.
get better
It did.
results. So
I want to
I
circle
hope
back
that
to
I hope that
something, Dr.
answered your
Chris, that you
question. But you
asked with
definitely can
regards to
try.
the
Yeah.
acceptance of
Mm-hmm.
natural hair. And what I am recognizing,
Mm-hmm.
especially as we have individuals like you making it prevalent to have natural hair, um, I now, my children, my
Mm-hmm.
grandchildren now have individuals that they can see that natural hair is okay and it is um, okay to walk in your natural hair. And or I didn't have that, right? I didn't have that, you know. Um, One of the people,
Right.
I looked at the Brady
Mm-hmm.
Bunch, right? Now, to redo the Brady Bunch and do bold culture hair. Let's go, right? So that we see it, you know, and so it is there. And so what has happened is to embrace it has
Mm-hmm.
become easier. You know what I mean? To embrace it has become easier.
Yes. I will
Yeah.
say, being
Yeah.
natural has become more common as the years have gone on. And I laugh because you said there was nobody. I mean, technically they were natural because that was their hair, but in the natural, in the sense of like black women or black people or people that have textured hair going
What?
natural, there was
What?
no representation. There was absolutely no representation. So what I kudos to society for the way we have evolved. I mean, we have devolved in some ways, but for the way we have evolved in that way where people are now becoming more comfortable to be natural, where there is more representation, because I know it matters. It makes a huge difference. And even when I first started my natural journey, which now is about 9 years ago, even between then and now, there is more
Yeah.
textured hair
Yeah.
representation, and I think that makes a huge difference because one, we need to see what is possible, but then you aren't setting your goals and expectations
Yeah.
off of the only representation that is out there, which historically has not been anything that came into alignment with our hair, that came into alignment with our texture of hair, which made us feel like it was okay to step into these different spaces and places with natural hair, and then to really appreciate that hair or fully embrace it because we didn't see it. And so that is honestly why I'm here, because when I started this journey, there was not a lot along the lines of information, education, representation, and it was hard to find quality products. It was hard to find quality information. It was hard to get quality support. And so I created a space where I didn't have to look for what I needed anymore. And so kudos to other girlfriends like me who are creating spaces where you can get quality information, where you can have quality representation, and where we don't have to feel like we are the only ones on this natural journey. And so, girlfriends, always remember that one, your
Nice.
story, while it is yours, is not uncommon for most people's story. And that wherever we are on our journey, if you are not in a place where you want to be, you can take the intentional steps to get to a place where you learn how to ultimately save time, build confidence, and make your natural hair care easy. And I mean, that's what I'm here for, right? That is why I started this business. That is why I started Curlfriend Chronicles. I want people to get to a place where they're comfortable, where they feel good about their hair, where they love their hair. And I think it is very important for us to once hear each other's stories and journeys, normalize each other's stories and journeys, and even their struggles. Because how many girlfriends went natural and thought they had to just wear their hair out, but might have preferred to wear their hair straight? And so, Curlfriend Kenya, you are on here freeing some people that might have thought my only option was to be a straight natural. And then Curlfriend Kenya also got free to realize that she doesn't, what the time constraints were before don't necessarily have to be her reality when it comes to being natural. And there is an easier way to approach natural hair care, that she don't have to twist her hair 3 times a week, because we all have jobs, we all have family, we all have children, and we all don't always, well, I definitely know I don't want to spend that much time on my hair where I have to keep touching it multiple days in a row. So there is definitely an easier way. And so Curlfriend Kenya, that's going to be your new name. So Curlfriend Kenya, as we get ready to close, when it comes to hair care, our identity, and really stepping into the fullness of embracing this natural hair, embracing this natural journey, and feeling comfortable and confident, what are 3 things that you would tell our girlfriends that could help them get to a place where they would be more comfortable and confident on this journey?
Know that you have been made fearfully and wonderfully, designed by the creator of Earth. So you must be good. It must be good. In fact, he says he knows the strands of your hair. So that's good in itself. So however your hair is, it's how it should be, because he created it. Secondly, don't let others define you, right? Don't let others define you. Making sure that you know that your journey is your journey. It's your own fingerprints on it, right? There's only one set, and so your fingerprints are real, and so you define your own journey, right? And the third one I would probably say is getting healing from the past. Really press into whatever that is, so that you can identify it. Again, as I said, one of the things that I do with transformational coaches is coaching, helping them to define it, right? You can't refine what you don't define, right? And so healing yourself from that. You know, I had to really go back to the place where it started for me. And it started back there. And so once you find that space, know that there's healing there for you to get healed from it, to be able to move into your purpose, right? Your defined purpose. That's what this is about, right? Because we all have testimony, and we all have a realm of influence that we need to impact in the kingdom. So
that is actually amazing. And so one of the things that you just said, even though I was like, oh, this is good. So you said that we needed to get healed from our past. And I think that sometimes we do not realize that there are a lot of things that have influenced the way that we approach our natural hair journeys, that have influenced the way we think about our natural hair journeys, that have influenced the way that we define successes and failures along this natural journey. And so you said that we need to get healed from our past and to identify or define that thing. And so really quickly, can you give us some steps to kind of work through and define that thing so that we can address it and move forward on our natural journeys with a little more freedom?
You need to find the triggers, right? Sometimes it might be, why your hair look like that? Why are you looking like that? Whatever the trigger is, right? So that's the first part, is finding out what's triggering you and kind of journaling that, right? And kind of journal that. You're like, every time somebody say this, it's, you know, you find out what the triggers are. Secondly, then it is being in a space where you can process it. You got to find the space to process that, to see those triggers. So first, defining it, finding the triggers. The next thing is look to where your beginning, where's the first time you felt like that, and it when you go back to that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So after you go there, the biggest part, number 3, is to
Mm-hmm.
forgive. You got to give those snickerers,
The
right?
hardest
Those
part
snickering about
sometimes.
when I took my hood off, right? I had to forgive, the fact that I felt
Mm-hmm.
like my mom shouldn't have had me in that position with my that I had to forgive her, right? When you release that,
Mm-hmm.
and the forgiveness will allow you to begin your new you, right? Because that's the quintessential part of it, Dr. Crystal, is the forgiveness part, right?
That really is. And I think unforgiveness is attached to a weight that
Yeah.
keeps us from being able to fully be who we are purposed to be in this life. So, girlfriends, as we prepare to leave
Yeah.
for today, just remember that it's bigger than our hair, right? Our hair is a small part of it, but there is so much more. So if you have ever struggled on your natural journey, if there are misconceptions that you still are holding on to, negative thoughts and mindsets about your natural hair journey or your natural hair experience, which could be contributing to how you view natural hair care and how you are struggling on that natural journey, give yourself the space, the grace, and the time to kind of address those things that might be subconsciously affecting you on this journey and keeping you from getting to a place where you can really fully embrace it and then ultimately make that natural experience easier. So I would encourage you to take to heart those 3 things that girlfriend Kenya just said, so that you can get to a place where you are free, right? And then you can approach this natural hair journey differently. And then you can actually start to get the results, realize the results that you desire, or even take the pressure off of yourself in some areas that we may be adding some unnecessary and undue pressure to have hair that performs or is presented in a way that we consider perfection based off of some negative thoughts that we may have had. And so definitely it's always important to approach this natural hair journey with the appropriate perspective, to approach this natural hair journey with some intention, and then to invest the time in learning more about your hair, to invest the time in being consistent and caring for your hair appropriately, invest the time in the quality products that will assist you on this journey. And when you're able to do that, then ultimately natural hair care becomes easy. And if you're curious about what it looks like to create an intentional curl care plan, about what it looks like to live on the softer side of natural hair care and to be free from those negative mindsets, definitely hit me up, because I would love, love, love nothing more than to serve you. That's why I created this business. That is why I am here. That is why I am doing these Girlfriend Chronicles. So definitely check me out, send me a message, visit me at boldsculture.com. I'm always here, ready, willing, and able to serve. Now, next week, girlfriends, I am going to be investing in myself to make myself better so that I can serve you better. So we will not be back next week, but stay tuned, because I have some amazing, amazing things that I'm working on for you. And as always, thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Girlfriend Chronicles. I hope that you have seen that while our journeys are our own, our struggles, we don't have to struggle alone. And some of our struggles parallel one another, and that there is always a solution. There's always a way to change that perspective, to free yourself from the things that are holding you back, and to get to a place where you can ultimately make natural hair care easy. Thank you so
You,
much for joining me
thank
this morning.
you.
It
Thank you
was
for letting me
always a
be
pleasure
in
to
your
serve you. Thank
girlfriend
you, Kenya. It was so
world.
much
This is cool.
fun.
Okay, I love it. Doing
Yes.
excellent work. Glad to be here. Mhm.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And until next time, girlfriend.